And then I think a couple of days later, the Fugard emailed me and said, yeah, we'd like to offer you this role of Richard Collins in Orpheus in Africa. I said, I'm like, shit, going to be in musical theater? Yeah, so, all right, let me enter. Yeah, this waiter's gone. I resigned immediately. I said, sack.
Today on the podcast, we have performer, actor, singer-songwriter Sanda Shandu, who's an all-around, just pure bundle of joy. He tells us his story of having had to go to university to study a degree in org psych and economics, something that he didn't really love, just to get it out the way so that he could actually follow his passion, which is the arts. And let me tell you, once he got going, he really hasn't stopped. He's done everything from theatre to big budget films and has happened to win a couple of accolades in between. I have no doubt that this tale that we hear today is just the start of a long and successful journey that lies ahead for Sanda. You're listening to The Self-Starters, a podcast where we learn how to take our ideas and turn them into successful action. And because you're listening, you have no excuse not to get started on your idea right this moment. Unless you just want to listen to this episode first.
Sanda Shandu, hello, my friend.
Hey, Kiran Naidu. Hello, my friend.
How are you doing today?
I'm great, bruv. I'm great. All the better to finish a long day with a dear friend. Huh?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic and you're actually dreading the fact that I've forced you into this on a long day.
Damn you. Okay, but I'll just say it straight. I miss you, Kieran. It's lovely to see your face again.
No, it's great, and thank you so much for being my guinea pig on the podcast. Dare I say it, you're way too famous to be talking to me, but here you are. It's one of those things. At some point, you just have to call in favors with friends. So I'm glad I had a couple that I could call in here to speak to you. Now, firstly, welcome to the Self-Starters. This is a podcast about turning ideas into action. And a lot of people will be thinking, well, an entertainer, an actor, singer, songwriter, why are they a self-starter? But I'll put this to you. I think being in the entertainment industry in South Africa is one of the most courageous things a person can do. It's really tough, I think. Anywhere you go, in South Africa particularly, I think it's still a growing industry. And, you have to be a risk taker and someone who's willing to put it all on the line to, I think, create some success and create some success you have. So I'm very excited to talk about your journey today. And I think maybe a good place to start, Sanda, is, tell us a bit about you and your career. I think a lot of people know who you are. Quite a few people who'll be watching will be like, this man looks hell of a familiar. I just can't put my finger on where I've seen him before. So maybe tell them, where have the people seen you?
There's this thing that I saw Kevin Hart say. I'm forgetting who he was talking about, but he said he's that snap your fingers famous. He's that you know that guy who I'm snap your fingers famous, where like you might know the face, but you just don't know where from. I've just been here and there. Well, to go back, I entered the industry doing through a lot of theater and mainly musical theater. So this answer would really go out to my theater lovers out there. I think I really theater is home for my acting career, and and I know theater as well isn't in terms of viewing, going to watch theater, it isn't that big in South Africa. So we've got our little industry folk and audience theater lovers. So they would know me from, I did my first production called Orpheus in Africa at the Fugard. So those who have attended the Fugard shows, you probably know me from there. Orpheus in Africa, I did District 6 Kanala with David Kramer, both of those productions. And then a big one that I think really got my name out there was King Kong, the musical, which was also at the Fugard. um, uh, 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 and I played the villain in that musical, and which eventually got me 2 awards. My first awards for Fleur de Cap Theatre Awards and Naledi Theatre Awards when we did the show in Joburg. Yeah. So I got a nod in that supporting role, and then from there, theater has just been that's where I flourished the most. And as of late, uh, and by late I mean probably the last 4 or 5 years, I've been dabbling into more TV and film. I started out my career doing like since I was studying economics, where I met you. I towards the end of my degree, I got an agent actually scouted me on campus. And you know how I was back there. I was acting the fool. I was acting up, you know.
I
So
don't know if
I
it's
was
acting.
an easy.
You damn good at it. You're damn good at
So
making people laugh.
it didn't take them long to find me on campus, because they could hear me from a mile away.
If people don't
And
know you,
then
if people aren't uncertain about your face, no one can mistake that laugh. That much I know for certain.
hey, look, man. Yeah. So from there, I done a lot of commercials. So, and I'm sure a lot of the South African audience will also know my face from TV commercials, from the Parmalat cheese to KFC, Lunch Bar, and like I've done quite a lot there. But the last 4 or 5 years, I've been blessed to get a foot into the film and TV world, where I have a show on Showmax, which is Skimmer Dance. I've been finding myself in wonderful Afrikaans productions and Cape Colored Afrikaans productions, Skimmer Dance. Then I found myself in something called Trouwkoers, but I just did a scene in there. You won't know me from that series. But it's just been, and I just wouldn't have thought this is where I'd be, you know. But on the film side, yeah, I shot the Kissing Booth, which was well renowned by them teenagers out there. And we did 3 movies of those, which I was a part of, the Kissing Booth trilogy. Yeah, so
Second only to the
those
Lord of the
are,
Rings trilogy, I hear.
yeah. And yeah, so for those who have enjoyed good old teen rom-com
We all do,
on
Sanda. We
Netflix,
all do.
you may have seen my face there. Yeah. That's. Oh, and a while ago, yeah, I did present a search on 3 when early in my career, when I was just looking for a platform, and I did quite well in that. Losing towards the end, I think I think I was 4th or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, South African audiences, a lot of people remember me from that. Yeah, here and there, and I've been fortunate to uh, yeah, make what I believe a solid career, and only excited for what's to come.
You're very humble, I must say. You literally end off by saying here and there after listing Hollywood films, award-winning productions, numerous TV ads. Needless to say, if you're South African, you should know Sanda, or you've been living under a rock. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. No,
It's just crazy
it's such
for
a
me to think. It's like it's. I think I'm still getting used to that. You know, maybe when I'm gonna put it in your face, that's when you know, like, the humility is gone. Like when I know for sure. All right, everybody up in this mother. Can we swear on your podcast? Can we swear on your
no, go for
podcast?
it. Go for it.
Ah, everybody in this motherfucker. Uh, and now I even forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I'm still getting used to, like, my face being known. I'm obviously not an incredibly recognized face, but it's just so weird, man. When someone is like, "Hey, yeah, you, what's up?" I'm
No,
like, "Hey."
So, I mean, as you've alluded to, I've known you since university, and to say this
Yeah.
is where you're at in your career, I don't think is a surprise to me or anyone else who is lucky enough to count you as their friend. I mean, I think you are someone who is always destined for stardom, and I think it's going to go much further. I don't know why I'm giving you all the plaudits now. That's generally for the end of the podcast. So just hold on, just a tiny bit more, just a tiny bit more. Let's talk about this journey, right? You didn't just get to being an award-winning performer overnight.
Mm.
It's been a long, arduous journey, and maybe let's start right at the beginning. How young were you when you first realized this is what you wanted to do? Yeah, has this been something you've always wanted? Is it something that you got to later on in life? When did the acting and singing bug hit?
Okay, I could confidently say that it's always been a thing, but I can also remember distinctly the moment when it was confirmed that this is what I want to do. So I think growing up, like, yeah, my family would say I was definitely, when people were over at the house, I was showing off and wanting the attention, and I was definitely a performer in that regard. And then and I also loved my sports, man. So at that time, like, I was incredibly, like, into tennis, and I actually had dreams of going professional in tennis. So in junior school, but I'm also, like, I also know how to play piano, but tennis I was definitely focusing on. But I also,
And
my
I mean,
parents are just like
was
my
that a
parents are just like
pipeline dream? How good were you at tennis?
No, I represented South Africa in under 13, and in high school when the music bug had hit, I just stopped at KZN, playing for KZN.
Underachieving.
Um, yeah, so, like, but in junior school, it was really like that was my shit. Like, I was like, I want to, like, I was ranked in the country. Like, I was in, like, yeah, my
Mm.
moms and I traveled the country to tournaments in fucking Potchefstroom, to Nelspruit, to Cape Town, Bloemfontein, Durban. Like, I was playing everywhere. And then, hey, I think um I can actually, but yeah, but also my family is also like, my sister played the saxophone, my brother played the drums, I played piano, like we all had our things, and music was the constant. Um, but then somewhere along the line, I could actually tell you straight up, I saw Justin Timberlake and Pharrell Williams uh, in, what's it? His Justified album. And
Mm.
that song, Like I Love You, just fucking blew my mind at that time. And mind you, you would think, obviously, like, the classic entertainers, like Michael Jackson being a huge influence. We were fortunate enough to see him in Durban in '96 or something when he came through. My parents even said, nah, 4 hours away from Newcastle, you motherfuckers aren't going to school today. We're gonna see Michael. Yeah, we're gonna see Michael. And I don't know why I'm talking like that. My parents don't talk like that. but but even my memory as a child, like, is a bit hazy. But like that, I remember Michael's performance from the jump, like, to the end. And that obviously still is with me as a performer, just like I was just in awe. And then going now, fast forward back to Justified, the Like I Love You video. Remember when back in the day we'd have to wait for TRL to release the video or something? We can't just whip out a YouTube, So we had heard Justified was coming out, and Pharrell Williams is on this, and Timberland is also on it. Back in the day it was hot. And then Pharrell Williams, that Like I Love You song, just the first one, ting, ting-a-ding, ting, ting-a-ding. I saw that video and I heard the song, and I was just like, what the fuck? I felt it in my body, and I was like, this is the shit I want to do. Even if it's not like singing or acting, I just want to perform. like whatever Justin and Pharrell are doing right now is what I want to do. That's when I decided. The tennis racket took a back seat, and then in high school, like I just really went into the music that I already had learned. I just gave it my all. Then that's when, yeah. That's when at school, in high school is when it really like plugged in. Like I was performing in all facets, being a war cry leader or a Toastmasters MC, or even giving sermons. I was on Christian Fellowship at that time, and I would love giving sermons, and then let alone obviously the drama school we had there, drama class rather, and music school we had there, like then had an amazing choir conductor that just yeah opened me to another world of choral music and classical music and just everything music. And then acting started taking its role, like in like grade 10. And then I found more comfort in acting, and music was actually my first love, I could say. And it is slowly trickling itself back into my life in terms of me making my own music. You heard a little snippet at my wedding.
Oh, I did indeed.
And yeah, and then since then, like acting has been such a comfort place. Like I've just felt so comfortable and just more sure of it, especially live acting on theater. But music has just always been, it's just that first love that you just can't put away. But yeah, I think, and yeah, I've really flapped my gums in this answer. But to your question of when it all started, like that moment with that Justified album, when did that come out? That was like 2003 or something. And 2003, we were, how old were we then, Kieran? You
11 or
were
12. 11 or 12.
11 or 12, 11 or 12, around there, né? Yeah. So I would say the bug like really like accelerated, put a heavy foot like at the end of junior school in 2003, 2005, 2004. So since then, I've been, and I've been learning, I've known how to play piano since I was like 6 or 7, but then it was liftoff from when I was like 11 years old. I was like, yeah, this the shit I want to do.
And when that dream started forming and taking shape, and you're in high school and you're doing a lot more in theater, you're acting, you're singing, you're delivering sermons. What is the dream that's forming in your mind? Was it to be a Hollywood actor? Was it to be an EGOT recipient? What is the dream of teenage Sanda?
The dream of teenage Sanda was to, before the awards and the accolades, I guess those dreams started being more clear as I got into it. But the dream was literally just to perform, share myself in front of millions, in front of, maybe not at once. That's a bit overwhelming. But just performing in front of hundreds and thousands, and like, and as I've started actually doing it professionally, now I'm even happy performing for one person at a time. Like it's therapy for me. It's beautiful. And I think that's why music is also just like such a scarier thing, although like it's like, because music, I believe, I wouldn't want to lie through music. I wouldn't want to make tracks for people to get hits. Music it's just, this is me, and whoever likes it likes it. And I think what the scary thing is that this is me and I'm putting it out there, And what if motherfuckers don't like it? They don't like me. They don't like it. And then it's a spiral. You just can spiral. Acting, you can hide behind something. You know, you can, if people don't like your performance, it's whatever. You can charge it to something. You can, I don't know. I don't know. But that dream of high school Sanda, like it was, yeah, at that time was just to perform whatever that is. Like, I think comedy also started trickling its way, and I loved Bernie Mac and them, and yeah, I mean the American movies have been such a huge influence, and like Oscars and stuff, and but when you come back home, like even just the work that I'd seen from like musicians like Hugh Masegela, like uh, 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 um, even going to theater and the work that John Carney and Ethel Fugard have done. Like we are also read. I was also reading those plays in high school, and it was just beautiful shit to read off the book. Like I was not a big reader. Like I hardly used to read books. I could only read like plays. Those I could read, and it communicated different. I saw the world, and yeah, I just wanted to be on. And I think as a teenager, that dream is all over the show. I couldn't be like, okay, I want to be a film actor, and I'll get an Oscar. So answering this question is like, I just wanted to perform. It wasn't like crystallized because I was singing and playing piano, and I was also making speeches and Toastmasters, and I was also in musicals and dramas, and I was just doing everything performing, like whatever the fuck it is, like yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it is.
and
It's
so
difficult
that
when you're good at everything, isn't it? And I'll share a story. Like I've always wanted to be in entertainment in some way. Like I still harbor deep hopes of one day just doing some sort of stand up comedy. One day I'll pluck up the courage.
oh,
But
stand up. Oh, that's scary.
oof,
That's another.
see,
We'll
the
get
thing
to
is,
that.
like, I would much rather do stand up to an audience of 1,000 people than stand up for 15. I find it much easier to speak to a larger crowd than an intimate one. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about you. And I want to say that I love your answer. There's something very pure about it. And what I wanted to say about entertainment is I've always dreamt of being an actor. In fact, I remember after
Yeah,
high school, I was like, oh, I'd love to dabble in acting. And then I met you, and I'm
I
like, no,
remember
man,
that.
there's a big gulf in skill in terms of I can dream about
Oh,
acting, but
no.
now I'm seeing real people who can actually act, and let me tell you, there's a big difference. Now, I have a
And that's
question
what
for
you
you.
were
So,
seeing back then. Oh
yeah, so now I
no.
don't even want to broach into it now. The thing is though, someone with that pure vision of just the joy of being an entertainer, being on stage, how then do you take a short left and end up studying economics? That's how we
Mm,
met. Um,
mm.
what goes on there? Is it a case of you love acting, but you also know maybe I need to be practical. You need to assess the situation. Maybe I'm a Kieran who would love to act, but maybe am I actually good enough? What was the thinking, and how did you end up doing economics? It's a very far away from Justin Timberlake and Pharrell. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Listen, um, I got good grades, motherfucker. You know, I got good grades. As silly and foolish as I'd acted in high school and being the class clown, everything. Okay, let me not say I was like in first, like A class for everything. I was always like, what's it? I was just a good average student, not at the top, not at the bottom. Just hey, look, sharp. I'm doing good. Um, and then I think what had happened was I'd gotten good enough marks to do a BCom, right? And understanding just uh it's easy to just say, black parents, dog, they just said I must study this shit and I studied. It's easy to say that. And as much as as it is that I've just come to I'm answering this in retrospect as well. Like back then I did apply to Rhodes University for drama, and my second choice at UCT was for jazz studies. But my first choice at UCT, I asked my parents to meet halfway to go Bachelor of Social Science in Economics and Organizational Psychology. So I was like, so that I could do so I did some drama electives because that was via a humanities degree. So going back to my marks in matric, I think, yeah, and it's understandable why a lot of parents of color specifically want their kids to study anything that what they see in their minds will guarantee you a job and a safety net or whatnot, because of the background they have, because they were not they weren't allowed access to the education we have. So what they deem success is, hey, look, you got to be a doctor, like just what's it, these white collar jobs, or of like, you know, so having a BCom degree is, I feel it's just our parents protecting us in their own way, you know. So I ended up doing that, and I got good enough grades to do it. And my parents are so supportive of my career, but I think for them, they just wanted to have a safety net for their son, and that's how I ended up in economics. And it wasn't a breeze. It was that stats motherfucker that kept me back. But eventually it was achieved. And yeah, and then from there, I literally, as I got my degree, I went straight into the business. But yeah, like that was how I found myself studying economics. Yeah.
And let's talk about this a bit, because I think it's quite remarkable, you know, what you did to hold on to that dream for that long, and, you know, embark on it the moment you had a chance. A lot of people go the opposite route. They get caught up in the degree and they almost let that dream fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Talk to us a bit about that. How did you keep that fuel, or that fire burning for drama? Were there ever times where you thought, you know, the moment's gone? How did you pull yourself through that? Because I think a lot of people are in a similar position to you, and just they cast aside and go the professional route once they have that degree.
Naidu, I think you know, it's gonna be like, this answer is like, I don't want it to like all seem so cliche of an artist and whatnot, but like, even after achieving my economics degree, which I got, like, it's still just like, bro, I still felt like I don't know anything else but music and acting. Like, I've got this degree, but to be honest, I was studying to pass and get on to my shit. I was studying to pass. I wasn't studying to learn and enter some corporate or something. Like, I just knew I wasn't gonna be there because it just wasn't me. And I started getting opportunities while I was studying. Like, I shot my first advert. I got my agent while I was studying. So I guess it was like in my third year, I got an agent. Maybe that's why I also failed in third year. Because I started hitting the film sets. I started getting into the industry, and I think that's what allowed me to keep that dream alive. And at UCT, I was involved in the war cries for the rugby team too. So like every Monday, I'm in my Ike Tigers fucking regalia and just beating my drum and just vibing with the crowd, performing, you know. I did drama electives. I just went to go see theater shows because that's just what, like, It's like, that's just what I want to do, so I'm gonna do it. And I'm in Cape Town, and cool, like, you know. So it was. I think like, not even intent. Like, I guess some parts it was intentional, but I feel it just came to me. Like, I couldn't be sane without wilding out on a stage. Like, I was emceeing res formals as well and performing there. Like, I would play, so I'd also play piano and stuff, like, just doing shit like while but then on Monday morning, I'm there in the ecos lecture, and just like, because I have to be here, and yeah, let me get like. But as soon as the pen was down, I was just keeping that shit alive. And it wasn't a decision that I made to be like, you know what, this, because I don't think back then, as what, in our early 20s and or late teens, early 20s, we're not incredibly self-aware, but we still feel things, you know? And I could just feel like, I was like, economics, this thing isn't floating my boat. If anything, psychology, when I did an elective in psychology, and that was more connected to the art of performing, and I enjoyed that, and I even got better marks. And then just the numbers, just like, I guess I did decent in economics, but stats 1000, that mother, that that boy don't play. So like, it was just clearly inside of me, it was important, just because that's where I just felt like, call it attention seeking, or rather wanting to, as a performer, you just want to, that's how one expresses. So like, if I can't express myself, I'm gonna find a place to do so. And yeah. And then towards the end of my degree, I also started a job at Stardust, which is a theatrical dining restaurant where all the waiters are performers. So while we're serving you food and drink, in between, we're also entertaining you. So there were just those, and I was just drawn to it. I just clearly, the stars were just, I knew I wanted this, and whatever I'm doing during the day with economics, best believe, when that, like I said, when the pen is down, I just want to do what I love. Yeah.
And I have to ask this question. I think from a completeness point of view, looking back at the time where you were in university and you got your degree, is there any value that you see in it now? Were there any learnings that you've taken away where you're like, yeah, I can, more than just understanding your parents' perspective? And I think, person of color also, parents all the same with that fear.
Yeah.
But your time at university, besides that, is there anything where you're like, I'm glad I did it? There were certain elements that I took away from it that,
Like the
will stand me in
actual,
good stead.
like the actual degree itself, like the theory, or just my
No,
time at
not
UCT.
just your time in university doing something that, going through the motions of the degree that you didn't want. I mean, obviously, I know the biggest
Ah,
the biggest thing that came out of it was you met me, but I mean, beyond that.
no, definitely a part of it, man. Like, a lot of my base, my chosen family is from UCT, and I found my wife there. So I'm going to ask you to just play second from my wife, for a little bit. Can we work that out?
You know what, Lunga's so lovely. If it was anyone else, I'd struggle. No, of course, of course.
Yeah, look, looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. There has been a time where, like, I did wish, there was a time where I was like, I actually wish I just stuck to my guns, and just sort of like honored my art. Like, I went through um, yeah, like, what's this word? Why am I going blank? I went through
Like an
a
existential crisis almost.
existential crisis. Thank you. I went through an existential crisis, like, who was I not to back my art? Like, you don't let anyone stand in the way of your art. And but actually, and I got to another space which I am in now. where I'm like, fuck that shit. You were meant to be there, and I wouldn't change a thing. Because the thing is also being, uh, I guess also my wife Lunga, she actually even even from getting to know other artists in this industry through me, she's also seen what I have taken away from UCT without me knowing it. But now I see it after she has described. Like, I mean, I think having an economics degree, I think also just really helped me as an artist and handling my finances a little bit better. Um, and yeah, I think just that side of my brain, like the numbers and saving or it was just like the fear of being broke, you know. And not to say there haven't been tough times. It didn't start out all rosy, but as I got more established, I think I can owe that to UCT. And I think even if I did study drama, for example, studying has this thing of it can tell you a lot about a person. Just saying they can do something, achieve it, and like just that, as simple as that. They are committed to something for 3 years or 4 years. They do it, and they achieve it. No matter, even if it was a 3-year degree taken in 5 years, if they achieved it, it shows something of
Absolutely.
committing to this thing. Whatever the circumstances, that's what it shows. So I think even that I think has definitely, and in that space of because I was also hanging around you guys, like when I'd come to my ecos lectures, that's where we would cross paths with the stats and ecos, you guys on the commerce side. So like I think also just being around you guys, just and students who are studying BCom and finance or accounting or in that space you guys were in, I learned from that, and I think I've taken, just not to say that I know anything about accounting, but I think just like when people would talk about money, I think artists, we are just lacking. We lack that business side of things, and that is still lacking in my career, but I think the ecos and that time definitely assisted me in like even through COVID, it stripped away so many jobs and it was tough. But fortunately, I think, and fortunately just for me, it's not the case because South African actors, we are not paid our worth. Um, uh, yeah, and it's a sad situation. But fortunately, for me, um, yeah, I was okay. I was doing voiceover work here and there, but I think that does tie in, like going back to my the space I was in at UCT. I think I can owe that part of like literally just how I handle my finances as an actor.
And it's something I've always really admired about you is the pursuit of your passion. And you know the I guess not you were happy at university, but there was that unhappiness of I want to pursue what actually gives me purpose. And
Mm.
there was a fearlessness about it. And where does that single-minded determinedness really come from? And that fear of, you've just mentioned, I guess, some of the difficulties around being an entertainer. COVID would have really hampered the amount of work available, and there's always that the risk of going an extended period without a significant paycheck as you look for the next big thing. How do you manage that? Because I mean, I sweat thinking about it. How do you get through those times? How do you learn to manage and deal with that level of uncertainty? And I think a lot of people take it for granted. They think that um, you know performers are wasting their time, and it's not. I think the level of determination, the level of self assurance you need to be able to persist in an industry that has so
Mm.
much uncertainty. You guys deserve all the accolades. I can only look upon it with admiration. How do you deal with that, Sanda?
The problem I think the problem with a lot of people that pursue their passion as a career, as something that in this world will literally feed them or keep them safe in a home, is that we also like we would still do it for peanuts, for nothing. And I think even going back to what I said earlier, like, bro, be it performing for a theater of 500 people, I would do the same performance for 3 people. Um, I would do, that's why I think we get taken advantage of, like being asked to do gigs for free and for exposure. It's because people know, like, we're doing what the fuck we love. Like, even before the monetary rewards, like we get rewarded. Like I can do a performance and not get anything in my bank account, but after that performance, I would get to breathe easy again. I would get a lightness. I would get to explore, I would get joy from it in one way or another. So, and I think that's like, I guess coming around this way to answer your question, like dealing with it is yeah, because it's fucked up, is because we just carry on even if we are not getting paid and we don't know when the next payment is going to be. We just fucking carry on because we are getting something from it. And I think the economics of it, and yeah, be it the way the world works, it's just, and I think that's how we deal with it. We just carry on with it. That's to answer it in one sentence. But practically, um, dude, I honestly can't tell you a formula. Practically, it's like when you just want to do something, you're gonna make it work. Like you are going to perform. Like, dude, I've done fucking wild jobs where I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, but you just like, but I'm getting paid because it's on the path to that, to my dreams. And no, I refuse to. And there is this like, I think there's like a psychological thing about performance where there's, and I even went through it for a stage. It's like just what's it? We call it struggle porn. Like, I need to be a struggling artist. Like that's how, we fetishize struggle. So like as an artist starting out, I was also like, I don't need to live comfortably. I don't need to like I
Oh, I
need I
remember this
need
phase.
I need struggle in order to make my art. And I'm so thankful I'm out of that phase. But it's just what people, it's what I've seen in a lot of artists where like we get it twisted, because that's what the world also feeds us. It's like
Mm.
the greatest of them all. Like when the world feeds us musicians who I don't know, who are homeless, and because people love a struggle story. Like people love a come up story as well. Like if it's like a musician who was homeless for so long, and then that's their art, and then you can hear it in their music. Oh, we fucking love that shit. Like an interesting character who is a drug addict, but that's how he or she works. That's how they get to film. That's how they do things. And without the drugs, it's they feel like they're not. The world feeds us this thing of like artists need struggle in order to perform. And I think that also ties into like a lot of us, like just like not knowing when the next paycheck comes. It's like, that's fine. I'm gonna use this struggle in a song one day. Uh, um, and that's how we move on. It's like literally the struggles that we have, we need to use it in a way to heal. That's how we get to the next paycheck, bro. it's literally that pursuit. It's like, all right, this thing got me down, but I'm gonna fucking use it to get me further. Write
I think
that down.
that's powerful, and
You know?
that's a wonderful lesson for
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's a wonderful lesson for people, and there's so much positivity in that. And I think to your point, if you're doing something that you're passionate about, that gives you a sense of purpose, it's that much more palatable. Like I can't
yeah.
imagine doing that
You know,
whilst I'm balancing
you,
the books. That would kill me, right?
hey, look, man, and like it reminds me of like a lot of our friends now at that age. Everyone is popping out babies, man. And I would have thought like, and I've had some friends in the industry like that had like that have had babies not only now but like a few years back, where things have been tough, but what do? You make it work, because there's a baby there that needs to be fed. Like, I'm the baby, I need to be fed. Like, you'll just make it work. Like, there are some people, and even not even in my industry, like people in general, like who have children at a time they feel they weren't ready, and then it happens, and they just make it work. And that's a story of many single mothers out there. They just make it work. But that's obviously that's another discussion. But like, just tying it to
The
just
extra pressure,
just
the extra
making it work. It's
motivation.
just there's that
Yeah.
motivation. It's like, and this is what makes me whole. Like, it's just, you'll be like, people just, you just think, and there's just also that belief of like, I believe that my skill is good enough. It's
And
also that, like, and there's also there has to be confidence in that too, of like, you need to have that vision, that goal, and actually back yourself, not just doing it for one day I hope to be famous, one day, like, just for selfish gains. It's like, just like, do you believe your do you believe in your work, and is your art valuable? Will people resonate with it, and just keep believing in that, and that's what gets you going.
and you're someone who had the correct belief in their work and in their worth. And maybe let's talk about that for a bit. Tell us about your big break. Um, yeah, tell us about your big break. What would you define as your big break, and when was it?
Hmm, a big break. I kind of feel like it's still coming.
I like that.
I kind of feel like it's still coming, because now I'm not here to play small games. Like, watch the space, bruh. You know, I'm not here. Like, it's the big break is coming.
So what
Uh,
was maybe then tell us about
and
what was the small break?
what is the small break? But I mean, I also don't want to dumb down any of the great productions I've been in. I think just in terms of scale, like, it's just, I have big dreams, man, and I really hope to get further on the international stage. And you know, uh, yeah. So like, I kind of feel the the break that got me in and to where I am now. I I would put it to King Kong the musical. Like, that really put me out there in the theater scene. That's why I think for the viewers and listeners here, who I think mostly watch more film and TV than they have theater. Um, yeah, because I mean, Kissing Booth wasn't a big break. It was, we were the fun in the background. Yeah, we were the standard high school squad, yes, but like, and my face pops up quite often. But I think that chunky role that will really get me out there is still to come. Um, or I'm making music, so there's also space for that. Maybe maybe one of my songs gets it big in the future. Who knows? But yeah, in terms of dreams, I but I also don't want to. There is that goal, but it's but if it doesn't happen to that scale as well, it's like, bruh, as long as I'm just still pursuing what's in my heart, that's it. That's the most important thing. But yeah, yeah. Yo, I feel like I'm going around with your answers, but
No, no, but it's fine. So
my big break, King Kong at the Fugard 2017. That's the one that I got 2 awards for. And yeah, first time performing in Joburg. I won the award there as well. So and yeah, and because it went across the country from Cape Town to Joburg. So in terms of the audience scale, like that, yeah, that really put me out there, and I'm just very proud of the work that was done by everyone on that production, and only
it
honored
was a
to be.
marvelous production.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you, thank you.
you played a very convincing villain, and the reason I say that is
Yeah.
for people who don't know you, you're probably the most friendly person and most smiley person you'll ever come across. And I've fully watched that, and I'm like, yo, this is not Sanda. This is Lucky. If I'm correct, the villain's name was Lucky,
Yeah,
right? And I'm like,
yeah,
yo,
yeah, yeah.
I would not want to walk past Lucky in the streets. Let me tell you. So it was so great seeing you. You know, again, fulfilling your purpose and your passion. And
Thank you,
maybe
bro.
let's talk a bit about how you got into the theater space. Um, if I remember
Ooh.
the story correctly, didn't someone hear you sing whilst you were a
Mhm.
waiter? What's the story there?
Yeah. Um, so going back to that, I think I'd mentioned Stardust Theatrical Dining Restaurant earlier. Um, so straight after my degree, I just I'd known of the restaurant when they were in Rondebosch, and started like I think South Africans have seen Stardust on like pop idols. Like there've been a few contestants that get to top 10 who are from Stardust, and um, so anyways, I started working there when they had moved to Woodstock in Cape Town, and excuse me. So I started working there. Um, I think it was after like about a year. Um, there was a lovely gentleman by the name of David Kramer. Um, uh, and I'd heard of this name in high school because we're also studying a lot of South African theater and music, and he's a Cape Town South African legend in the music scene and um and musical theater scene. So he came to the restaurant one night, and I was emceeing that night, and I had and the songs I was doing, yeah, I was playing on the piano and singing some other covers. And yeah, so I was MC for that evening, and a week later, after that night, a friend of mine working at the same restaurant um, asked me for my number to send to this guy called David Kramer. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you got my digits. Yeah. And she told me, I think he's wanting to talk to you about a show. And that was all the information I'd gotten. And mind you, at Stardust, like there are a lot of corporate end year functions there, and there are a lot of people who like get get into the hype of our performance, and there are many dreams that are sold after they've had a couple be like, hey, yeah, I want you to come perform at my 40th or something. I did get some other gigs there, but compared to how many I was offered, oh. but so like that's why I also just thought, I'm like, this is gonna be nothing, because we've had so many. Like I was offered to perform in Mauritius one time. And I was like, Mauritius, I'm saying, I'm going to have give me your number and we'll chat. It was just a pipe dream, Baba. And then, so I thought this was like a similar case. Like, all right, give him my number, cool. And then another week later, I'm like, he hasn't contacted me. So like, again, and then he gets in touch with me like after about 2 weeks from that night he came through, asking me to come to, no. And then he sat me down, we had coffee, and a little chat. So from there, I'm like, okay, here's this David Kramer dude that I've heard of. I'm not quite familiar with him, but I've done some research, and he was a big hitter in the 80s and 90s, and then he had this role that he was working on, or rather this production called Orpheus in Africa, which is based on a true story where there were freed slaves from America who had traveled the world performing and singing, and they came to South Africa and they came to the Cape Colony and performed here. So there was a character there that he saw in me when I was performing at Stardust, and it was like, there's this young cat who I see you playing. Can you please come audition? And he tells me the story, and he's like, you didn't even need to tell me the story. I'm like, fuck, give me the job, give me the job. So we get to the Fugard studio, and now there's the musical director, Charles Johan Lingenfelder, fucking genius. And who else was there? I think the resident director, and David Kramer himself. And now they didn't tell me what to perform. Like they're like, oh, and you can play piano. Maybe we can use that too. Like I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I just sing a song, and I didn't even do a monologue. I guess my emceeing did that on the night. So so then now I do this audition. Looking back, I didn't know what auditions entailed, but looking back, that audition I had was weird. Like it was just a song, and I also played and sang one while on the piano, and then that was that. Not coming back here again. But no, not badly. Stardust is a great place. I think just for career wise, I just needed to see more. I needed to just, so like, and this Richard Collins, he was the rebel of the choir, and they were very in Victorian times, and a lot of them didn't drink. He was the one that went off and had a couple. He was the messy one of the choir. So now I was like, David, so what did you see in this character that night you came to Stardust? Huh?
He was so convinced he didn't even need you to do a monologue. He's like, no, I know this man. If you need him to act like a drunken mess, we've seen enough. I'm kidding. And Sanda, I would be remiss. This is your big break into musical theater. I would be remiss for all the teenage girls watching to not ask about the Kissing Booth and the experience you had just being on. I'm assuming that would be one of the biggest sets and biggest productions you've been on, just because it's a big Hollywood film. Did it meet your expectations? Did it not meet your expectations? What was that like? What was your excitement? I'm sure it must be like, whoa, I'm going to be on a movie that's going to be all over Netflix. Did you anticipate it would be as big as it turned out to be? I mean, it was pretty much a global hit with everyone between the ages of 9 and 18.
Yep. I can thank my my immediate rise of Instagram followers to the Kissing Booth.
How many followers did you get overnight?
Yo, dude, these bless their souls. These teenagers enjoyed them shits. and I'm just they following all of us now. I forget. Yeah, like it's ridiculous. I think I don't know. I shot up like uh probably like 10 to 12,000 followers, and now it's on,
Jesus,
I don't know, it's on like 18 or 19, and I'm like, I'm hardly on Instagram. It's very overwhelming. Like yeah, you would think with my followers, you would think, this guy is like posting every day. Hey, look, my last post was probably last year September or something. I don't know,
do you know
but
there's a young teenage girl in Nebraska with a poster of Randy, who is the character you play in the kissing booth, up on a wall, who is very, very upset to hear that you married the love of your life.
oh. No, the life of her love will be better than me. No, but like yeah, no, the kissing booth was that was a wild time. Yeah, it was so much fun as well, dude. Like uh uh I think after shooting it, definitely didn't know how big it was gonna be. But I remember, excuse me, um the lead actress Joey King. I'd obviously seen her in some things before, and we've known her face, so that was exciting to meet her and meet someone who was like, she's also a child star, so she's been in Hollywood for a very long time. So it was just, and she's awesome, man. And I think there were other big name characters that a lot of the white people were going crazy for. I didn't know them. But you know, um, and but I think as a whole, I think just like also having like a very strong South African cast. It was mainly South African. The leads were from America. Um, and yeah, and they were also just so like so happy to be here, and it was literally, I was like, I'm just getting paid to have fun. Like I'm acting as a 17-year-old in this fucking private preppy school in Los Angeles. We having parties every goddamn weekend. Like, or at least, well, we weren't having, like, the scenes were parties. So like we just we'd get to set, bang out some scenes, have some fun, chuckle in between. And it's like, and this was work. Like literally I was going to hang out with new friends. Like, and for me to be to call that work, like, is actually just, it's mind boggling, because it was just so much fun, man. Like with these with these cats in our well, not all of us were in our late 20s. I I was one of the older ones. Yeah, yeah, I was one of the older ones. And but like in our mid to late 20s, and like acting as teenagers, like, dude, that's just gonna be just lots of shits and giggles, bruh. And it was just so much fun. And for the fact that we the response like got us to make uh two more movies, I was like, yo, I just didn't expect, because it's also something that I wouldn't particularly watch. Because when people tell me like, oh, hey, sorry, I haven't watched that, because I'm like, it's really okay. It's really okay, because I understand the target audience. Um, but also the people who have watched it our age as well. We're just like, it's sweet. Like it honestly is. It was just, yeah, man, just a fun movie to shoot. Uh, uh, it was a big hit. I like to compare it to like our, remember back in our day, teen rom-coms, like a Mean Girls or something, or like How
Yeah,
to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or something. Like it's just nice to see that, like, you know, teenagers are still like having those experiences of just like seeing just teen romance, just
Sanda,
some silly shit.
our
Like
teen romance was High School Musical.
our teen was High School Musical, yeah. So yeah. So yeah, man, it was so much fun, and literally the love from the fans absolutely insane. Like, yeah, man, love them to bits. And yeah, I'm glad they enjoyed the movies.
And what I love about you is your love for your craft. For a lot of people, this would be like, this is a career high, and I can be happy. But as you've mentioned, you have big plans for the future, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what comes your way. And I fully anticipate I'll be seeing your face front and center on a lot of
Yes,
movie
sir.
posters in the future, and maybe a couple of album covers. Sanda, maybe tell us quickly, what's on your plate right now? What are you busy working on? Who are you working with? What can people expect from you into the future?
Aha. Well, I'm currently working on um, two singles that I've written that you heard on my wedding day.
Guys, let me tell you,
Um,
it's a great song. Great song.
yeah, so and yeah, I haven't released any of my original stuff before, so this is going to be a first. So yeah, but um that is I had started working on that, but I'm actually just needing to put it on in the back seat for now, for the next month or two, because I am currently in pre-production for a series that I'll be shooting until end of June.
What can you
So
tell us
it's a
about this
series.
series?
It's a pretty dark one. It's a dark crime thriller, that I can only say that for now. Um, and it's going to be coming out on CakeNet.
Mm. You're gonna
Yeah, so
you're
I'm
going to
in.
be an Afrikaans superstar.
Hey, they're gonna know me in their households, bruh. But yeah, I am yeah, playing a character in a very, yeah, like I said, a dark crime thriller uh um that will be, I don't know when it will be coming out, because we are in pre-production right now. I had rehearsals this week. Um and yeah, we start shooting next week.
That's
So the
super
yeah,
super exciting. Now, Sander, last
yeah,
question.
yeah.
It's a question I ask everyone on the podcast. It's broken up into two parts. The first is, are you proud of yourself and the journey you've had?
Yes.
I mean, you can elaborate if you'd like to.
Oh, I thought it was one of those. Yes, I am. Yeah, nothing more, nothing less. Um, yeah, I am. I am. Like um, yeah, I'm just really proud to, like, that I've stayed true to myself, like, and just my aspirations, and even just my childhood dreams, really, because like we hear a lot of stories of people, um, uh, yeah, just reminiscing on those dreams without them having come into fruition. And I just don't want that to be my story. And I think every time I was also in an improv troupe that also just reminded me like how beautiful it is just to play, like literally like childlike, like just we're in a room, all grown adults, and we are just running amok, like creating silly scenes and making silly noises. And because amidst the chaos of the world, like shit is heavy, man. Shit is heavy. So like to be able to pursue this career that brings so much release and brings so much joy and brings so much pain at the same time. It's just such a full experience, and that's just like the human I want to be. I want to be a full human, and that's what performing does for me. And I'm just proud that I've stuck to it. And um, yeah, even to say if there was a time away from it, it's that time was meant to be. And uh, I don't think things would have played out the way they have now. Like I am having won awards, uh, probably what 2, 3 years into this thing, and I'm just really it's just one of those like affirming things of like this is what you're meant to be doing, and just carry on. And yeah, I'm just hoping it takes me to greater heights. And yeah, I am very proud.
I mean, it's been an amazing journey. I
Yeah,
mean, you should definitely be proud. I think everyone
thank you,
who's seen
thank
the
you,
come up is deeply proud and very inspired. And then
thank you,
the
thank
last
you.
thing, if you were somehow standing in front of 6-year-old Sanda, what about your journey would you tell them, or would you tell him to look forward to the most?
uh, if you think you're happy now, hold on to it because you'll never be this happy again.
I mean, after all the inspirational talk about following your passion and purpose.
No. I actually no, like literally, like just look forward to genuinely like just being happy, um, happy for who you are and literally what you do. Like my 6-year-old self, I'm sure he was acting the fool right there and then, and I'll be like, "Hey, by the way, you're gonna get paid for that." That's
No,
what I'll tell him.
that's
Like
pretty awesome.
literally, like you can do that on stage. You'll get paid for it. Watch. I'm like, what? Like I just made noises and acted. I was like, yeah. So that's what I would tell him.
And Sander, I can completely understand also why you paused for a moment before answering that question.
Uh-huh.
You've always taken to every scenario with just a pure sense of happiness and joy, and there's been a sense of joy. I always get the sense from you that one of your greatest pleasures is making other people laugh and enjoy themselves, right? And it translates, I guess, from you as a person onto the stage, and why you enjoy it so much, because you can elicit emotions in people watching you perform, and I mean, and you're excellent at it. So I'm glad 6-year old you would get a kick out of the fact that you get paid for it, because you damn well deserve to.
Thank you.
No, thank
And
you,
and
Sander,
that's what
for
and
the
that's what
time.
the and that's what the shift is. Like I'll tell my 6-year-old self as well, like that your relationship with attention is also gonna change a lot. Because I think when I started doing this for it as a job, I stopped needing attention like in my personal life. Like I found myself more like even with birthdays, just or maybe that's just us getting old and we just don't want attention. But like it's just been an interesting thing where I've noticed, whereas in the past, even coming through varsity days, like where it's just like I just wanted to be seen, and like there was that as well, and as well as like I want people to be having a good time around me, and I want to give them a good time and make them laugh and happy, and you know. But I think when it becomes, and that wasn't my job then, or neither was it when I was 6 years old. But now that when it is my job, where I'm saying, look at me and this is what I'm performing, I think once the curtain closes, it's like I've had my fix. Let me, you know, let me come into this. Like so it's just been a very interesting journey that that has been playing on my mind quite a lot recently. So yeah, man, I'm honestly just so happy to do what I do. Yeah.
And we can't wait to see what you do next. I'm sure it's going to be full of success. So yeah, we have our fingers crossed that your success takes South Africa further onto the world stage. I have no doubt that's what you're destined for. Sanda, my friend, thank you so much for the time. When you eventually do win that Oscar and Grammy and Tony, I thought you said you were done looking for attention. Um,
I didn't say
when
I was done being a weirdo.
no, Sanda, as I was saying, like uh, we're so excited to see what comes next, and I have no doubt you're going to bring bring South Africa further along onto the global stage with all you do. You're a real talent, and I wish you nothing but the best, my friend.
Sir.
And
Thank you, sir.
when you reach those heights, I'm going to ride those coattails and say, I interviewed him here first. Just remember.
Watch out. Yeah.
But thank you so much, my friend.
Naidus, my friend, I thank you.